Yeah, go ahead.
With Boyd and Trent Irwin, past free agents, Andre Escobar showed a lot of good stuff towards the end of the year last year. Looking for him to make a leap in year two to kind of maybe solidify that third receiver role going into the second year.
We've got a lot of different roles carved out for each position, so it's not all this guy can play this and that guy can play that. I think with Andre Yoshivas and Charlie Jones, those are two guys we're very happy that we drafted last year. They have very bright futures for us. We have high expectations for them to continue to grow. You ask about Andre, I think he showed some really positive things down the stretch last year. He got a lot of opportunities, and so we'll continue to see him grow. I'm not going to give out any starting jobs right now at this press conference, but we're really excited about Andre's future. Well, first of all, I appreciated Rand reaching out. And not everybody does that. And Rand was trying to use every resource at his disposal. And for him to make the call to me, I appreciated that. I was straightforward and honest. I thought Brian was prepared for the opportunity. He's sat right by my side for 5 years and become one of my best friends and was ready for the opportunity. It was a big part of our success. And I'm confident that he'll be a big part of their success down there in Tennessee.
Plans to bring that same dynamic that you and he had to Tennessee with Nick Foles.
Yeah.
How did that relationship start to build, and where did you really see it go?
Well, just the jobs that I had as a head coach that would draw me away from the offense at times during the game week, and Brian would just keep it rolling and knew what I liked and what he liked, and it became the same. And so he would just get me up to speed on things I'd miss. And so, again, I just always had a lot of trust that when I was away, Brian was going to keep it rolling, keep us productive, keep everyone on task. And so I'm sure he'll make sure that Nick does the same thing for him. So Shane and I go way back via email because in probably 2009, I was a GA at Texas A&M trying to get my brother Press a scholarship. And so I was emailing out, mind you, his highlight tape from Butler County Junior College. This was before Huddle. And I emailed probably 150 people, and the guy that responded back the quickest was the UNLV GA, Shane Steichen. And so I never forgot that. Always stayed in touch. Our kind of time in the NFL mirrored each other. When I was in Miami, he was in Cleveland and San Diego. And so our journeys kind of became the same as quarterback coaches in this league. And so we've had lunch many times over at the JW Marriott over the last 10 years. And so very happy to see Shane get this opportunity. He did it when his rookie quarterback went down too, which is tough his first year, and had them right there in the playoff race. And so I think Shane's done a great job, and Indianapolis is in great hands with him. Him, like a lot of the rehab guys, are in our facility. They're in our weight room. They're with our doctors and our trainers. And one thing you learn is when you're around injured players, you don't want to ask them every day how you feel. That gets pretty old pretty fast. And so you give them their space. I know everything's progressing as expected. And so, as well as anybody over my 6 years here, I've made a lot of errors making proclamations about injury timelines. And so all I can say is that it's progressing as expected. He's doing really well. We're excited about this offseason with Joe. And once we get closer, we'll have a better idea.
This is your first offseason in a while where you have to replace a handful of coaches. I can imagine that's fun. But is
Yeah.
there any sense of excitement of just getting new faces and really like asking coordinator to break it out like first hire?
Yeah, it's a great question because you're right. We feel like we have not had to make many hires over the last 3 years. This year, it felt like we had to make 100 hires, even though I think it was just a couple. We certainly went through a lot of interviews, which is really good. You get to hear a lot of different ways to do things at different places. Got to talk to a lot of good candidates. Ultimately, we're able to promote some people within our staff that were deserving of the opportunity and more than ready for the roles. And then you get to go hire some different roles, like the pass game coordinator, Justin Riscati, and some of the quality control roles that we have. So you're always excited for the interview process. We came out on top with some really good candidates. You're exhausted with the interview process at the end of it and ready for it to be done. But I think that we really added some really quality people to our staff. They're going to help us continue to grow and evolve. And then the guys that get new opportunities like Dan Pitcher and Brad Kirkdorp and Jordan Kovacs, they're ready for those opportunities. I'm excited to see those guys go coach. Early. I think his level of preparedness and how much he put into it early on and asked the right questions and Didn't walk in like the number one pick and I deserve all this stuff. He earned everything that he got. And I think he earned the trust of the players early in install meetings, and then the plays that he made in training camp. It was a COVID training camp, but the opportunities he got in the field, I think, really opened people's eyes early on, and we knew we could put a lot on his plate. And first game he ever played, San Diego Chargers, took us down the field and in my opinion, threw a touchdown pass that got called for an offensive pass interference, and then we missed the field goal. But ultimately, in my eyes, took us down and won us the game in his first ever NFL game, and I think that set the bar for the expectations going forward with him.
How important is it to learn things about these athletes in the interview process, 5 days or whatever, and project them to your style of play?
Well, I think what's important to get face to face and hear them talk is you got their bios and you hear about their backgrounds, but to hear them tell their story sometimes answers questions, sometimes makes things a little bit clearer, what can make them tick. And again, you don't really ever want to ding the guys in these interviews. This is a bonus. They get a chance to put their best foot forward, and our scouts have done a great job researching their backgrounds. But I'm excited to watch these guys go compete on the field and do all that stuff, go to the pro days and gather all of our information so that we can make the best picks for the Bengals.
Years ago, you had that decision to make Jamar Chase, Penei Sewell. What was it that made you go towards Chase? You're weighing a top receiver versus a top lineman.
Well, we knew we couldn't miss, right? We knew we weren't going to miss with those two prospects. They were both going to be home run guys, and I think it's worked out well with Penei in Detroit. It's worked out well with us, Jamar. At that time, we wanted to go score touchdowns. We wanted guys that would put points on the board for us and give concern to the defenses, and Jamar was that guy. It certainly helped that he and Joe had the seasons together they'd had. So that's something you're ever rarely going to replicate in a situation like we found. We already knew what Joe thought of Jamar and how he would fit with that style of receiver. So that, I think, made the decision a little bit easier for us. But we're fortunate how it played out for us, and I think Detroit's probably pretty happy with how it played out for them as well.
Situation with T. Higgins, I know that just like you probably don't want to check in on your players every day. I feel like you're probably frustrated being asked about this all the time, but now that we're kind of at this point,
Yeah.
managing, on the franchise tag. I'm curious, as a head coach, how you kind of go into that situation, managing that. Just want to focus one day at a time.
Yeah.
But also the reality that this is a business and that part.
It's a process you follow, and you hope that the relationships you built over 4 years with guys that we've done this before with carry you through this time. And we've got a great relationship with T. I think Troy Walters and Brad Craigthorpe have spent a ton of time with him over the years, myself included, and we think the world of T. And he's in this position because of the work that he's put in for us and the value he has for us, and we want to make sure we don't lose him. And so that's just the business part we're in right now, and we'll continue to work through that. But fortunately, I think that we've got a great relationship with T, and that'll carry us through the offseason. Yeah, I think you saw Jordan Battle's role continue to increase as the season went on, and he got more comfortable. Early on, he was playing special teams and a little bit of defense, and then he became a starter on our defense. And I think that his ceiling is much higher than even what we saw. I think now he's going to go into year 2 and have a chance to be a lot more comfortable, be a lot more vocal. Those are the traits that we see from Jordan. Just St. Thomas Aquinas leader, Alabama leader, and now at the Cincinnati Bengals, we expect him to be a leader. And so that'll be part of his evolvement as he continues to play. But we have really high expectations for Jordan.
Just curious, going back to team for a second, wide receivers, how have you seen the market shift over the last, 5 or 10 years to where it seems like even if there aren't top number 1 guy, whatever, there's a lot of really good guys who are capable of being that type of player.
Maybe it's because of how much college teams are throwing the ball now. Maybe it's the shift in how those have been run. I can't really answer that question with great confidence. There's a lot of them around the league. It seems like every week you got guys you got to worry about, and even second, third, fourth guys that are really good. And I can't drill down why that is, how it's different over the last 10 or 20 years. But there's a lot of really, really good receivers that you got to be concerned about in this league.
What's the big challenge of evaluating running backs? That biggest question of mine. What's the big challenge of evaluating a running back and making sure he fits in?
Well, there's certain things you're looking for in your running back room. It doesn't always have to be from one running back. You're looking for guys that can carry the load on first, second down. You're looking for guys that can be threats coming out of the backfield. You're looking for guys that can pass protect. You're looking for guys that can do all three of those things. And so it doesn't always have to be one guy that can do all that. You can piece it together. And we've done that in the past before. And so I think that as you look at all the running backs that are available in the draft, we'll consider all that stuff as we figure out where we want to go with our room.
Zach, you mentioned Jordan is a big thing with leadership. Just what do you see from all the Alabama players who come out and it seems like they kind of just know the NFL a little bit more than the rookies?
I think their seasons have been longer than most teams because they've typically played in the playoffs. I'm trying to rack my brain right now and think who we got from. We had Jonah, Jordan. Who else do we have from Alabama right now? I'm sure there's a couple others, but I think those guys, the way Coach Saban prepared them, the way that they practiced, they played against the best competition in practice and in that league, and we're ready for a long season. And so we've always seen guys that really right out the gate have been prepared for it. Obviously, there's a lot of learning curves they got to go through at this level, but those guys have always done a good job for us.
With Joe Burrow, back when you were going through this process, what were some of the things that made you know, like, this is the guy to be my franchise?
I think every person you talk to that had surrounded his entire life described him that way. And, there was no negativity around him whatsoever. Weaknesses, don't know that there really were any. You just kept seeing all the positives and the way he carried himself, the interactions we always had with him, just reconfirmed what we thought. And so I think pretty early in the offseason, we knew where we were headed and felt really good about it with no regrets.
Were there any things when you interviewed him, like, was there anything that stood out to kind of read?
I think, when we met with him here, myself and Duke Tobin and Mike Brown was in that meeting, and Mike's not in these meetings. That was probably the only one he was maybe ever in since I've been here. The way that he presented himself in front of, a head coach, a general manager, and an owner, very comfortable. And that's just him. He's very confident with the work that he's put in and who he is as a person. And, he's just got this genuine way about him where he's not trying to be something he thinks he's supposed to be or what people expect him to be. He's just him. And I think you saw that in that very first meeting. And so that really, again, just confirmed everything for us that he's as genuine as we hear he is. And he's been that every step of the way for us. Okay. Thank you all.